Ready.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the BOCC meeting for January 23rd. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
All right, first thing we have is our minutes. Gentlemen, do we have any other additions or corrections?
It was impressive.
I don't have anything. Kent, you good?
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve the proceedings of Board of County Commissioners for Montezuma County for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, January 16th, 2024. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, planning. Come on down. Looks like we have a couple of discussions this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So we have, this is Garen Wayman, and she is looking to do an exemption amendment with her parents' property on the east, hers is on the west, to adjust the common lot line between the two. If you go to the next drawing, Travis, or this preliminary plat. So the current line just ran straight north and south. The green line is the proposed exemption amendment adjustment. That will keep the Hall's property, their septic system there on the north actually extends west towards her house. Moving that line will keep that septic system on the Hall's property, and then it just also splits the two existing structures to meet the 30-foot minimum setbacks. And then just at the bottom, it just adjusts to keep both of them at 2.5 acres. They're both starting with 2.5 acres. So that'll clean it up so both properties are
So
separate.
the buildings then, looking at it, will both be within the 30 feet within the setbacks?
Correct.
And then the leach field, obviously, then on your folks' piece of property?
Mm-hmm.
So the exemption originally then was to split the one lot into the
It split
two
the 5
lots.
acres in half.
Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha. Which cleans everything up now, and then there's no issues if anything sells down the road.
Correct.
Okay. Questions, gentlemen?
No, this is pretty straightforward.
It's pretty.
Oh, it cleans it up,
Mhm.
which is a lot
Yeah.
better for everybody. All right, what's your pleasure?
I would so move we approve a First Amendment application to the Exemption Resolution P 2075 submitted by Garen Wayman on property located at 19936 Road T, Cortez, consisting of 2.5 acres, more or less, and Michael and Tammy Hall on property located at 19982 Road T, Cortez.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the First Amendment application to the Exemption Resolution P 20-75 submitted by Garen Wayman on property located at 19936 Road T, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 2.5 acres more or less, and Michael and Tammy Hall on property located at 19982 Road T, Cortez, Colorado. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for cleaning it up, too. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
All right, and then it looks like we have another exemption. Do we have
Correct.
the,
Good morning.
good morning.
So this is another application for an exemption amendment. The properties were created through an exemption 20-75. So the three siblings are looking to change the boundary line adjustment on that northwest property so that it actually runs down and creates a smaller lot on the middle property. If you can go to that other map, Travis. So there you see you had the square on the northwest property. That boundary would now go down, and that parcel would run south of that other middle parcel. So that will create almost a little less than 6-acre parcel instead of being a 15-acre. Basically, the acreage is going to flip-flop, but this will create that smaller parcel there in the middle. And then that's going to allow on that west remaining property, they are looking to subdivide that if this gets approved, and that way the three siblings all have their own parcel.
So,
The property line that splits there at the north up by the county road, those are all existing structures, and that line is not changing, so we can't really move that around to dodge what's there. But during the subdivision process on the west property, we'll have to make that work.
because I mean, if you're gonna do the west property,
Yeah,
there's
to split residences, it's
two
gonna,
structures there that look like they're
Yeah.
pretty close to the property line right now.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't show a dimension, but it looks pretty close. Which is not what we're looking at right now.
Right.
I'm just looking at it for the future. It's gonna be
Mhm.
that's gonna be a challenge. So the boundary line is moving to the south on the,
Right.
I guess, lot 1, I'll call it, or the
Mhm.
farthest to the west.
In the northwest corner up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Questions, Commissioner?
Yeah, I know where this is at.
It looks like it's kind of almost at the top of Rodcap Hill,
And,
just to the south.
come up, make the corner, and, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Question? Does it make? So on the lot that's existing, lot 1, are these all residences, or obviously? Okay,
Yeah, that's all existing.
yeah.
We have 3 homes and we have a car garage and 2 sheds.
Okay.
What is the structure on lot 2?
Looks like lot 2 would be a house also. correct?
Yeah.
This
Yeah, that's an existing
existing
residence.
residence that's being occupied at this point in time, yeah.
And so those three residences on lot one, those are created by exemption or grandfathered in, or how are they there?
I don't know the exact dates on them, but the proposal moving forward would be to subdivide that so that we get one on one property and two on the other. So then everything becomes compliant. Right now, they're just conveying the smaller property will be created for another sibling out of the exemption. Because nothing on the north, no boundaries are being moved at this time. It's just downsizing the east lot to allow for subdividing the west lot.
But at this point, that that north lot is out of compliance. It is grandfathered in?
I think it's out of compliance.
Or it's out of compliance.
I don't know the exact date all the houses were put in.
I was put in 2001. I am the south of the northwest corner.
Mine also was put in 2001, over on the west.
Yeah.
northwest.
I think the middle one's the original house, and
Yeah.
then two were added.
So by moving this down then, and they subdivide that, then that obviously then would bring them into compliance with
Correct.
one.
One on
And
one
one
and two on
ADU.
the other. Correct.
Okay. Got it. Which we don't see that as far as those lines that it's
Right,
gonna
no,
happen right now.
that's-
This is just to create this, okay. I think I understand it.
I've got it, yeah.
And then it separates, individualizes each one of your
Yes, sir.
properties instead of being all on one.
Rats went away. Where'd it go?
I guess my I guess my only question is, I mean, this exemption, I mean, shouldn't this exemption at this time exempt those houses too? I mean, because in essence, we've got an out of compliance property, and I get that this is like some sort of, it's sort of a way to maybe adjust this, but there's nothing legally that prevents an exemption. It just feels funny because we're dealing with an out of compliance property and adjusting around. And I mean, no subdivision application is guaranteed. That hasn't come before you guys. You guys aren't considering that at this point in time. And so, I mean, what we're dealing with right now
It's
is
just the
an
exemption.
exemption. That's it. And that's all you can consider. You don't look at what's down the road and what
Right.
might be subdivided or might not be subdivided, because ultimately, at the end of this, nobody has to submit a subdivision application. And so, you're moving around an exemption, but you do have this issue that you've got an out of compliance property.
On that north
Yep.
lot one. But it doesn't hurt to move the lines either.
No.
I mean, it's not, it's just increasing,
It's conveying 9 acres from the east lot to the west lot.
correct.
I'm good.
Sir?
Seems like we should be cleaning up the whole mess all at once to me.
I mean, can you do that? Can you do the exemption and clean it all up at one time, Ian? Or is this just the process of going through the exemption first before you go to the subdivision process next?
You would have to subdivide an exemption, can't, well, I guess you could possibly try and create a third parcel out of two, but that's kind of convoluted itself.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation because the houses are on the ground and they exist.
Yeah.
And so, what are you gonna do? I mean, and you know, maybe by making this adjustment, then you get a subdivision application, and if you approve that subdivision application, then you clean it up. And if you don't get a subdivision application, then you're in the same situation that you are in now, and that you've got an out-of-compliance property. Now, I mean,
And I know that, but there has to be some logical thought to this too. If they're trying to do this to clean it up so that they all have a subdivision application coming to clean it up for them, I know that's not in front of us, but if you don't move those lines, then they're out of compliance with,
well, they're out of compliance regardless.
correct.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It's the first step.
It's not a good situation.
It's a
That's
first
the
step.
reality of it. This is,
that's the way I look at it.
Been there and done that.
Yeah.
Commissioner Copeland for,
I don't know. I think these women are here on good faith, so I'm gonna go with that.
well, and I realize that, yeah, that's not in front of us right now, but I think the intent of what I'm hearing is to then individualize the properties
Yes, sir.
so that you each all have your own individual property. So I'm gonna throw something else into this. Now that you have all of the utilities, how are you gonna access all of these to their individual? Well, I can't even talk about that because it's not in front of us.
yeah.
right now.
Well, and I think the ultimate point that needs to be made for the record is, yes, you guys can grant this exemption, but in granting this exemption, you are by no means accepting the land use code violation that's taking place here. And at any
Correct.
point in time, if this isn't fixed, you guys have an opportunity to go and enforce the land use code on these properties. And so, yeah, I think that needs to be very clear in this record. I think it needs to be very clear in your motion. You're not accepting that 3 houses are gonna exist on this lot.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it will be, it's still out of violation, however, it doesn't accept the approval or denial of the.
In essence, you're moving a boundary line, but you're not accepting
Correct.
what's there.
And we're hoping that in good faith, that something else is gonna come forth. Okay, all right, Commissioner?
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I move to approve First Amendment application to the Exemption Resolution number P-47-79 submitted by Barbara Benavides on property located at 14852 Road 29, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 3.20 acres, more or less, and on property located at 14892 Road 29, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 15.63 acres, more or less, located south of Road 29 and west of Road 29.575. And in this, accepting this exemption does not include the out-of-compliance structures on lot 1.
Yep,
Is that okay?
that's great.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the First Amendment application to the Exemption Resolution P-47-79 submitted by Barbara Benavides on property located at 14852 Road 29, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 3.20 acres more or less, and on property located at 14892 Road 29, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 15.63 acres more or less, both located south of Road 29 and west of Road 29.7, and also included in the motion is it has no acceptance of the out-of-compliance structures on Lot 1. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There you go. And all
Thank
right,
you.
We'll see you
Thank you.
later.
And then our last item is we had applications open for planning and zoning board position. That open period was closed noon last Thursday, the 18th. We had one application for one position. So we would like to recommend the appointment of Jason Armstrong to the Planning and Zoning Commission Board for a period of 1 year.
Is that Jason back there? No? Okay. I don't know Jason.
Question?
No?
Oh, I don't have any. That's the only application you got, Mike.
Yeah.
That's the only one, and he's more than qualified. He's been on the Mancus Planning and Zoning. He's on our Economic Development Committee. He's Mancus's Economic Development Coordinator. So I think he'll be a real asset.
You got to meet him yesterday at
Yeah.
our board-to-board,
Okay, that's the Jason. All right.
board-to-board meeting.
I don't know how he fits in the time. He's on 50 different things, but he's he's well aware of what's going on. So I think he'll be a good asset. He's not starting from scratch. So we would like to recommend as a regular board position, and that will leave Mike Doyle as the alternate.
Okay. I would so move we appoint Jason Armstrong to a 1-year term on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Jason Armstrong to a 1-year term as a Planning and Zoning Commissioner board member. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that makes us full, 100%
Correct.
plugged in, correct? Okay.
Right. And the 1-year term sets us up to stay in line where we have two commissioners' terms
Staggers.
expire consecutive years, so that we don't have the chance of losing, 3 or 4 at a time.
Okay,
That's what we got.
all right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. Next, we have our public comment session. The Board of Montezuma County Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all the members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments, and comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. And with that, the public comment session is open.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Robeson. I reside at 15329 County Road 31, Mancus, Colorado, 81328. You may recognize me as the precinct co-chair for Precinct 12 in the Republican County Committee. And in talking with my friends and neighbors and those who live in my precinct and throughout the county, one of their major concerns is election integrity. In January of 2022, ABC News poll reported that only 20% of Americans trusted the results of the 2020 election. A more recent poll by Rasmussen increases that to 35%, but still only 35% of Americans trust our election process. That's terrible. We don't trust the machines. We don't trust our Secretary of State. She has shown herself to be biased. A recent example would be her arbitrarily removing Trump from the primary voter ballot. Now, Trump and some other Republicans have filed a lawsuit against that, and it's before the Supreme Court, and they have not issued a decision, but they did direct her to replace him on the ballot until the decision was made. But that makes it highly obvious that she's a biased individual. Now, one of the things that we need to do to correct the problem is to purge the voter rolls. My wife died in February of 2021, and I continue to receive ballots for her. I went to see Kim Purcell with a copy of the ballot and a copy of the death certificate and asked that her name be stricken from the rolls, and she informed me that the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, will not allow her to purge names from the voter roll, even with that evidence. Now, I'm not alleging that Kim Purcell is doing anything wrong, but it's pretty obvious to me that the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, is engaged in criminal activity. By not allowing the county clerks to purge their voter rolls. I also receive a ballot for a granddaughter who resided with us for a short period of time and registered our address as her residence, and I continue to get her ballot even though she has moved away. Now, I took that ballot in and I was told that only she could change her address. So how many people in the state of Colorado have died or have moved away and are still being sent ballots? Now, I'm not a criminal, so I don't send them in, but how the opportunity is there for fraudulent ballots.
Okay. Your 3 minutes are up, sir. We get it. I think the election integrity, the 35% trust in the process and the SOS, as far as trust in the operations of the SOS, Secretary of State. Thank you, sir. Next. All right, with that, we'll close the public comment session of this meeting and we will move on. Unfinished business today, we will move the decision related to the battle grant, which was discussed yesterday, until next week or maybe 2 weeks, depending on their cleanup operation. So do you want that next week or 2 weeks, Travis?
We'll plan for next week
Okay.
because of the meetings we're going to have tomorrow. So
Okay, so that will move. There will be no decision based on the battle grant today. Next on our agenda, we have a decision for a letter of support for the T-Mobile grant for the Heritage Museum Center. We had a presentation yesterday submitted to us by Jeff Brown, who is now taking the full-time directorship job for the Heritage Center. He kind of gave us an update, and that also presented this. Do we want to also do this, or were we going to give him the opportunity to answer some of the questions that we had yesterday as far as maintenance, upkeep, and what it was going to cost down the road?
I think we was going to move this further down the agenda in the future for him to
Okay,
do some
so
checking.
let's move this one 2 weeks. Okay. So we have no decision based on that today. All right, and we have our decision, think I missed something here. November, December financials and minutes for social services. You want to get those up there? Or here we have Lori coming down right now. You have the ones that need to be signed? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. Long time no see.
Yeah. The gentleman have any questions on anything?
No, I don't.
It's like
I would so move, we accept the minutes and the financials from November of 2023 for the Department of Social Services.
Second.
And you'll do the next one
Yeah,
individually? Yeah, that's perfect.
is that right?
So it's been moved and seconded to accept the records of proceedings for the Department of Social Services for November 21st, 2023, and the financials in the amount of $1,457,596.82. Is there any further discussion on November?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then we also have the payables for December. Do you guys have any questions on that?
No. Find my sheet. There we go. So move, we accept the payables for the December for the Department of Social Services in the amount of $1,411,418.90, which is down a little bit from November.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to also accept the payables for the Department of Social Services for the month of December 2023 in the amount of $1,411,418.90. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Lori, I think, well, I don't know, you gave me a lot of papers to sign here. I think I'll get them all. All right.
I don't
Ready
have
to
anything
proceed.
to add outside of the monthly report submitted for both December and January, which is reflected a month behind. So January's is for December and November's is for, December's is for November.
Okay. All right.
Numbers
well,
remain the same. Staying busy.
Same. Then we have a decision, Kelly also presented us yesterday with an MOU, actually two MOUs, which we'll address. One for the Colorado Department of Early Childhood. We'll do that one first. Ian, I know you looked these over and everything was good, but anything to add?
No, these are just amendments to existing MOUs that extend them, so.
All right, questions, gentlemen?
No.
Okay.
I would so move, we accept the Department of Social Services MOU with the Department of Early Childhood. And that number is, what are we at? We don't have a
Amendment.
number. Oh,
Amendment number.
We got a routing number, which is 19906,491.
except for my name is still incorrect.
So I was gonna add, I did reach out to the state yesterday. They did send me a corrected one.
Okay.
I asked to send it along to you. They said they have a different process. I said, well, this is Montezuma County's process, and the state said, we don't care. So Ian, you'll get the reaffirmation again in order to send it along. So expect that from Hugo, from the Department of Early
So
Childhood.
then is this also coming in a DocuSign?
It'll come through DocuSign.
Okay. So we can sign the hard copy and then the DocuSign when I get it on my computer?
Yes, sir.
And so it'll go to Commissioner Candelaria?
They will not send it to you first for you to approve, even though I've indicated that we have followed our process, which means you've already reviewed it and approved it.
Okay, we'll work with them.
They said no.
So we're just supposed to put an X with a circle around it for a signature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded.
and I guess I would just make note in the motion that this is what will be signed with the amendment of the name, just so there's no questions.
Okay. To accept the MOU Amendment Number 1 between the Colorado Department of Early Childhood and Montezuma County Department of Social Services, with the corrected name whenever it's presented. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then the next MOU is also with the Colorado Department of Human Services. And this is also a standing MOU, an annual reaffirmation. Anything else you want to add to this, Ian?
No, nothing more to add on this.
This one has been sent via DocuSign, and our county has been added to each section of this MOU, and it has been sent for signature.
Okay, so I'm looking and I've got a couple DocuSigns that came in, so that must be from you, Kelly. Got it.
Why would they not make this now? I mean, instead of putting July 2022 on this.
It's a bizarre, it's a 3-year MOU, so it actually doesn't expire until 2025, until June 30th, 2025. But they want us to reaffirm it annually.
I guess it's a way to get out of it if we don't, if something changes within the department. It's still a 3-year MOU, but why do you reaffirm?
All of these state MOUs are ridiculous in that they go for multiple years, like this one does, and they've got an easy out for the state whenever the state decides it's in the public interest to get out of it. And so,
That's an oxymoron.
and I don't know the reason. I mean, I have suspicions that probably some of these MOUs relate to the state's ability to receive funding from certain federal sources. And so by entering into a longer-term MOU, the state can garner more money that then the state can send to us rather than having yearly MOUs. But then probably for purposes of their budget and their financing, they do it this way. And, quite frankly, if we don't sign up for a multi-year
That's
term.
so they can justify taking 10 to 20% out of the money.
That-
And the state keeps it. That's what this amounts
That's
to.
what I'm getting at.
It's the medium between the federal dollars and local, and I think for the state, it's kind of their protection that they're gonna tell the feds, yes, we worked with this agency, we reaffirmed everything and laid it all out for them every year to remind them that we'll spend those federal dollars responsibly.
So we're paying the state protection money, right? Don't worry about it.
It's a broad problem because the localities need the money, so we accept the money. But in accepting the money, we become part of a larger issue, quite frankly. Not to get too outside my realm here. So,
So legally, the MOU is fine. We can only talk about the MOU, correct?
legally, the MOU
I get it. Okay.
gets,
It's a nice building you got here. Be a shame something happened to it, you know?
So I can see the question that Commissioner Copenhagen
yes.
wants to ask. I'm going to ask it. I can read his mind. What happens if we don't sign this reaffirmation? They're not going to take anything away from us.
Well, there really is the probably not.
There's
There's
possibility and
potential for
probability.
sanctions. And when we talk about those federal dollars, when we're using those that do not align with the regulations, both federal and state, they like to sanction federal dollars by sanctioning money. And so we know the allocation for our Colorado Works is about $1 million annually. So we want to be in compliance. We want to get that funding so that we can spend it to help benefit children and families in the community.
and I'll tell you legally the reality on the ground. They can't sanction us because the MOU exists, but how they can sanction us is they can say it's in the public interest to pull out of this thing.
Right.
That's how they get out of it, because they've got these big outs in all of their contracts that we sign. So that's how it would happen on the ground, is somebody up there would get upset and say, hey, Montezuma County, you guys didn't sign this, and it's not in the public interest to work with an entity that doesn't want to play our game, and so we're going to get out.
They'd put us on a performance improvement plan.
Well, and they shouldn't be able to put us on a performance improvement plan because we don't reaffirm an MOU that exists. We have no legal duty to do that. But, like we talk about with every single contract that comes down from these state departments, they're very broadly written. I've expressed concern over that before, that, they can kind of get out pretty easily at any time. So.
Here, I mean, here's the other reality of it, is if that was to take place, is all it does is hurt the families in this community. As bad as I hate to say it, without the funding, it's just that much more services that, I don't know. What do you do? All right, I asked the question for you, Commissioner.
And you know what would be interesting, and I don't know that you would ever be able to achieve it, but CCI has a lot of counties that sign these identical contracts. And I mean, as long as the vast majority of the counties sign on to this, the state's programs can function. Now, if everybody starts demanding amendments, pulling the plug, then all of a sudden the state's not going to get their federal allocation, and they're going to have some need to rework the way they do these things. And so, one county's not going to be enough. Montezuma County alone saying, hey, we don't want to play this game, that's not enough. But if you get a large majority of the counties together saying, hey, we don't want to do this, then all of a sudden the game changes a little bit, because, I mean, the state needs the counties in order to play with the feds. Does that make sense? So, but it's going to be tough to convince counties to get on board, because ultimately everybody's afraid they're going to lose their money.
All right, how about we go on this here a minute? I'll let you think about it.
You okay?
Yeah, because I
I mean,
don't, I mean,
I
to get all 64 counties
I
and
know,
the
it
large, the big five in the Front Range, we're never gonna outvote all the other 59 counties, period. It's not gonna happen. I get exactly 100% of what you're saying, but in reality, if we don't accept this and reaffirm it, is all we're gonna do is hurt our people right here in Montezuma County. And I don't think any of us agree or like this, but are we gonna cut the rug out from underneath our own people right here in our own county? I'm not sure that would be the most prudent decision to be made.
I move to sign this MOU between the State of Colorado Department of Human Services and the Board of County Commissioners in Montezuma County. MOU,
It's an annual reaffirmation of the
Yeah,
Colorado
it's-
Works Program.
you know, the annual MOU for the Colorado Works Program.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept and sign the MOU between the Colorado Department of Human Services for the annual reaffirmation between Montezuma County. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then moving right along, we also were presented yesterday, Kelly, and I'll let you go over a little bit more about this as far as the merit system standards and what we have in place now, or what we will be approving to put in place as it affects us and with the state.
Yeah, so what's proposed here is the Montezuma County Department of Social Services Merit System Standards. So this is specific to Department of Social Services staff members. This aligns with the Title 26 section that says counties must have merit systems. This document encompasses retention, selection, education requirements of staff, qualifications. It talks about how we will provide equitable and adequate compensation and lines that out. It also talks about how we will train staff and ensure that they are performing at the highest levels. This document aligns with fair treatment of all applicants, employees, promotions, demotions, discipline, performance improvement plans, how those would be handled, how they can transfer from one position to another, probationary status and how to get out of that. And then lastly, it protects against coercion for partisan political purposes. And so those are the 6 specific standards of Title 26 that all departments across the state must have. This has been designed to align with Montezuma County's values and how we can move forward with department staff.
Okay, Ian, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add from what I said yesterday. Again, I think Kelly did a really good job of creating a document that, is broad enough to create some flexibility, but specific enough to satisfy the statutory requirements. And I voiced my concerns yesterday, but overall, this might be the best we do.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
I move to sign this department
Merit system standards.
I move to sign this certification of compliance for year 2024 county personnel and merit system through our Department of Human Services.
We'll also need a motion to adopt the Montezuma County Department of Social Services Merit System Standards.
Okay.
Got it,
Got it.
got it. Good.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept and adopt the Montezuma County Department of Social Services Merit Systems Standard as presented. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you for creating this. You've stepped into a very complex role and done an exceptional job. Thank you.
And then this also too will come DocuSign?
It's already sent to you, yes.
Okay,
The attestation.
okay. I think I got them all. Okay. I guess that's it.
That's it.
We're done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have some new business. We have, we'll talk about liquor licenses for Love's Travel Center, Miss Frizzell.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good
My name is
morning.
Jerry Frizzell. I do the liquor license for Montezuma County renewals and new license. Today, we have a new license for a beer wine, county license for Love's Travel Center, Love's Travel Stops and Country Store Incorporated, doing business as Love's Travel Store, number 850, at 706 Highway 160-491 in Cortez. They have complied with all of the regulations to open up a new liquor license store.
I move to approve this Colorado liquor retail license application for Love's Travel Stop number 850 at 7006 Highway 16491, Cortez, Colorado.
Seconded to accept and sign the Colorado liquor retail license application for Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores Incorporated, located at 7008 Highway 160/491, Cortez, Colorado. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 They give you any indication of when they're gonna start operating?
February 1st is what they're hoping for this time.
February 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get this sent off to the state today and,
Well,
Well,
they
they might
they
be-
didn't hit their target too far off.
no, well, at first it was supposed to be January,
Yeah.
and by the end of January, or the mid of January, and then with them having to get different people to actually go in there and build it like it's supposed to be done and stuff, they had to
Push
pretty
it
well
back.
start over, so they did pretty good, so.
Okay. Very good. All right, moving right along, Ian. We'll jump right straight into you.
You know, I don't have a whole lot to report. Yesterday, the reply to the response to the motion to dismiss in the CO2 committee case, that's the Kinder Morgan case that was filed, it was a fairly brief reply, about 5 pages. In essence, it boiled down to, the argument that was made was that Kinder Morgan can't go before the federal courts after the Colorado State Court has made a ruling that they don't have standing. The CO2 committee, or Kinder Morgan, it's really Kinder Morgan subsidiaries, they can't go before the federal court simply by saying that constitutional violations took place. And that's kind of where their response, that's really what their response boiled down to. Obviously, it was more complex, but just making a general assertion that constitutional violations have taken place, violations of the 5th and 14th Amendment, is not enough to establish federal jurisdiction when the state Supreme Court in Colorado has affirmed a dismissal of this case for lack of standing. And so that's what it boiled down to. That was filed yesterday. The EEOC, we've got the pending complaint before the EEOC. The deadline to submit the response to that had been February 1st. The EEOC moved that to February 5th, and so continue to work on that, and we continue to work on that, and we will get that filed by the 5th. Other than that, I don't really have anything to report.
Thank you. Travis?
Real busy week, but the most significant, had board-to-board meeting yesterday with local towns and municipalities. Had a department head meeting. Friday, we had the CCI legislation discussion. A lot of topics come up: tax and finance, agriculture, general government, land use. And I believe we're going to start in again Thursday and Friday. So let's see, PowerPoint's pretty much done for public safety sales tax presentation, and we'll be finalizing that and getting it to the commissioners to review. And then the last thing I have is the payables.
For the month of December.
Yes, sir. For December, general fund total, $1,667,710.61. Road and Bridge, $856,600.15. Public Health, $198,660.80. Capital Fund total, $115,619.29. Administration Fund, $81,086.30. Landfill Fund, $135,507.66. Check register total, $3,055,184.81. Social services, $1,411,418.90, with a grand total of $4,466,603.71.
So move, we approve the December payables in the amount of $4,466,603.71.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the payables from Montezuma County for the month of December 2023 in the amount of $4,466,603.71. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Did James have anything? Okay, I'll go to it. All right, Commissioner Lindsay.
Yes, this last week I attended the MVI meeting. Commissioner Copenhaver showed up. I don't know if he did much or not, but. And also, this week I have city council meetings. In their workshop, they're going to discuss their land use code, and a Region 9 meeting Thursday, which will take up quite a bit of the day. That's about all. A few phone calls, a few meetings, but nothing else really going on.
All right, very good, Commissioner Copenhaver.
This past week, on Friday, I attended a AAA adult aging agency meeting in Durango on Friday for, basically it was a training for board members as to what your responsibilities are and for that group. And some things that were brought up that probably need to be looked at by that group as far as their bylaws and stuff. There's some real issues there because there's an age limit. You have to be so old before you can serve on their board.
What is that limit?
I can't remember exactly what she said it was, but I'd have to look back through there. But it's kind of seems kind of, I don't know. Anyway, some things that need to be looked at through that agency and stuff. But the overall presentation that was made to that board was actually some pretty good points were made by the lady, and she actually, there was some real issues on the board as far as what they could do and what they couldn't do, and they don't have any legal person to actually advise them on what they're legally doing, not legally doing, and there's some real issues with it. So hopefully we're gonna work through some of those deals and get that board up and running in a better condition. Hopefully. Then on Saturday, I attended, along with Kent, the MVI meeting, and that's about all
I forgot to add that I was in a CCI meeting too,
yeah.
Friday.
but there was a hack went on and I forgot pretty much what went on.
It was interesting. Hackers are everywhere. I spent the end of the week in Denver, driving on Wednesday. The roads were actually pretty pleasant and good, other than over Wolf Creek Pass, but got there safely. Attended the Fire Commission meeting. Some of the things of interest that we'll be watching as the legislature moves through, which one could affect us here in Montezuma County because of our issues that we're having with Ironwood, and that would be 24-028 as it relates to biochar. Obviously, more to come as that starts moving through. There's also another one that might be of concern to us, 24-1007, which has to do with life safety concerns and how that's going to move through the legislature also. We did have, and I think I told you guys this at our last meeting, one of the reasons why all of the insurance companies are pulling out of Colorado, well, it's not specifically for wildfire, but believe it or not, in the Front Range, because of the population up there, it's more because of weather and hail. So their risk as far as what they're having to replace in the state of Colorado, I mean, we all think about it in the terms of wildfire and what they've been trying to do to harden homes, so on and so forth. But in reality, when the insurance company spoke, all of their payouts are going because of hail, roofs, windows, so on and so forth. So, you know, here again, another discussion of all of these other things that we're doing to focus on wildfire, and it's not really about mitigation or wildfire, it's more about the weather, which nobody can control anything about. Pretty long discussion. With that, because of the insurance availability and affordability, the availability, like I said, you've got companies leaving Colorado, and the ones that are staying here, then it becomes unaffordable or unattainable to get the insurance because nobody can afford it. A lot of discussions there. One of the things that we all voted against was the presentation on the electrical grid and the resiliency. Well, we didn't actually have to vote on this. For mitigating risk for the electrical grid, which is mostly, I guess you'd call them high lines.
Yeah.
Where they actually have the transmission lines that run through the
Transformers,
through the
poles,
forest.
wires.
Yeah. A lot of discussion took place on that too. And then also one that will be taken up with CCI is 24-031 as it pertains to noxious weeds. So more to come on that through the Colorado Fire Commission as we move forward. Yesterday we did, like Travis said, we did have our board-to-board meeting, had our department heads meeting, had our workshop yesterday. I lost connectivity at my house, so I was unable to get to the Dolores meeting last night, but I know that they did appoint a new member. There were 4 members or 4 candidates that were listed to appoint 1 vacancy, which then we'll have to rerun in just a few months in April because they have 6 out of the 7 that are up for election. And Dolores, at CCI, which we all got bombed. I did make one thing of interest too was to sign on, which I think we can do that today if we approve that, to sign on to the letter of support for the slaughterhouse and I don't have that number in front of me, but, so in Denver, what they are trying to do, there's a slaughterhouse that exists basically down somewhere real close to the Western Stock Show complex. Most people don't even know that it exists. However, it does exist and has existed there for many, many years, but the county of Denver is trying to remove it. So they did ask us to look that up and sign on to it. And if that's okay, gentlemen, as a group, I mean, bring it forward to make sure that it's in public to sign on to that. Is that?
Yeah.
What, and it's a letter? Do
It's,
we have it?
It's a, I don't have my notes here because
Is there a deadline to sign on to it?
I don't think there is a deadline.
Can we just
we
put
can
it up next
postpone it
week
until
and put it on
next
the
week,
agenda and then just
Yep.
sign it then? Let's do that.
As I'll be going to CCI this week also, so we can then put, I just wanted to bring it up because they are trying to get that slaughterhouse removed from that location down somewhere close to the National Western Complex.
Yeah, it's right there on part of the National Western grounds. It's been there forever. It's a sheep processing plant. All the animals that are brought in there are unloaded indoors. They're not outside whatsoever. Most of the people don't even know it's there. And it's been there for a long time. It's actually an employee-owned business. There's 200 and some employees in that business, and they're basically trying to vote them out of business. That's what it amounts to. And there's-
So yeah, before we got hacked, that was one of my notes, and I just remembered it, that I think that's something that we need to stand up and help them fight for that, even though it doesn't affect us here, but who knows what it could affect us here as far as what we're moving forward with our USDA slaughterhouses. So I'll get that letter, Ian, and we can put it on the agenda for next week, but just wanted to bring it to your attention. That was in that meeting. And that is all that I have, gentlemen.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this January 23rd, 2024 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.